Today, the Work and Pensions Secretary, Mel Stride, was sent out to defend the disgraceful behaviour of the Prime Minister. In case you've been living under a rock these past couple of days, Prime Minister Rishi Sunak decided to cut short his visit to the D-Day memorial service so that he could race back home to record a pre-recorded interview for ITV. This naturally has upset the majority of the population and all of the veterans, and yet further proving that Sunak has literally no idea how to do politics. It turns out that this was all a political strategy, not to attend the international memorial service and only the British one, because he wanted to appeal to the Brexit-supporting Reform voters. I mean, seriously. Anyway, in this car crash of interview, Mel Stride tried his best to defend the indefensible, claiming he's a very passionate Prime Minister who cares deeply about the country, just not deeply enough to stay for the entire day. And he tries to move on to taxes, and their claim that they're coming down. When Trevor Phillips points this out, he pretty much says, well, if you ignore that big graph on the screen, then yes, they're coming down. But anyway, that's enough of me waffling. Here he is trying to tie himself up in knots, claiming Sunak didn't leave them on the beaches.
Prime Minister's reputation. He's apologised for his absence in Normandy. Your cabinet colleague Penny Mordaunt said on Friday that he was wrong. But I just want to ask this. He's yet to say what was so important that he had to miss the climax of the commemoration for the 4,426 who fell on D-Day. Has he told you what was so important?
I've not discussed it. What I do know is that he has recognised that he made a mistake.
It's a bit odd, and if I may say so, unfair, that they're sending you out on the Sunday morning round and nobody has told you why it was that the Prime Minister couldn't stay for the international commemoration, has endured, I guess, 2 or 3 days of criticism over it. You're speaking with the party this morning, and nobody's told you why he couldn't be there?
So we know what the other engagement was.
Did you ask, by the way?
We also know...
Did you ask
I haven't
why he couldn't be
spoken
there?
to the Prime Minister since that, so I don't have any direct discussion that I can share with you that I've had with the Prime Minister. But, Trevor, he attended the events in Portsmouth, he attended the British-led
I get all that, we've heard all that.
He's accepted. And can I just say
But with the greatest
something?
respect, it's a bit baffling.
Can I...
You've had 3 days of this. You are sent out to bat for the party, and nobody tells you, you haven't asked. The first question is, why couldn't he be there? What was the reason?
Well, this was, and I think this has been made public, that there were engagements that were in the diary before the election was called, etc. But the important point here, Trevor, what matters is that a recognition has been made that a mistake has been made, and the Prime Minister has apologised for this. And I know that he's a deeply patriotic person who cares greatly about this country, not least, in fact, if you look at the evidence around the Cabinet table, you've got Johnny Mercer, our Veterans Minister...
Look, the point is, the Prime Minister represents this country normally. Actually, President of the United States, Chancellor of Germany, President of France, our Foreign Minister, former Prime Minister... Now, it just makes the country embarrassed. Did he just not care? That's the question.
I think the question is...
no, the question I'm asking you
was happening.
Did he know
I don't know.
And he did not... Was he just not bothered?
No, absolutely not. Look at Rishi Sunak's record.
Hold on.
You've got to give me a chance to answer
what he did on Thursday.
You've got to give me a chance to answer your question.
But you're not answering my question.
No, well, I haven't had a chance to, actually, to be fair.
All right.
OK, so what I'm saying is, look, when it comes to what has happened, he has made an unequivocal apology.
You've said that already.
I know he will be feeling this very deeply.
You said that already.
And let me just talk about his record and how he stands up for our country.
Sorry,
because you're not letting me move on to this point.
Because you said that twice already, and the question I'm asking you is, look at that picture, as 60 million Britons do, and ask yourself the question that they are asking. Did he understand the weight of this event, or did he not care enough about it?
Of course he understood the weight of this event.
Well, why
and I do think the points that you've stopped me making, the points, Trevor, that you've stopped me and prevented me from making are very appropriate, because you're now saying, does he not care? This man cares very deeply about our country, and I know that because I know him well.
Okay.
As Chancellor, let me make these points. As Chancellor, he stood up in the COVID situation where we could have had millions of people unemployed to support the economy because he cared about the livelihoods of millions of people.
If you had been in that position, would you have left?
I think those hypotheticals
No,
are...
if you had been in that position, would you have left? I don't think you would have done.
Look, I've accepted, and the Prime Minister has
I don't think you
accepted,
would have done.
that the
Why can't you
mistake
say that?
was made. Because, basically, I'm accepting that in life, none of us expect to make mistakes. I mean, that's what we try and avoid in life. The Prime Minister has accepted that he made a mistake. He has apologised unequivocally for that.
I think lots of people will have looked at that and said, this is the wrong man at the wrong time. Would it not be a courageous and moral act for him to announce that he knows he's leading his party to defeat, partly because of his own actions and his own shortcomings, and that he will now step aside to save seats, which won't be saved if he stays for the next 4 weeks? Is he going to lead you into this election?
There should be, absolutely, and there should be no question of anything other than that. We've got taxes coming down on working people, and we can move us towards a more secure...
By the way, taxes are not coming down, are they?
They are.
They're going to be at their highest level,
No.
37.1%
Yes, and if you spend
of GDP.
If you spend £400 billion supporting the economy through COVID, getting inflation down, cost of living payments, and so on,
so
you
they're
have
going
to
up,
pay
right?
that down, as they are in other countries around the world.
Okay.
But the point about them coming down is we have got inflation down now, and we are concentrating now on bringing taxes down.
But let me show you something which was constructed by my colleague, Ed Conway. Here is the changes in taxes between 2019, 22, 23, 24. This is on your watch. Over that period, taxes have gone up £13,000 extra.
Yeah.
Taxes have not gone down, they've gone up.
OK, so the point that I was making was that...
No, can we just agree
yes,
with the fact
tax
they've gone up?
Right, I've just accepted that, Trevor, and I also said it happened in other countries. You look at the Nordics, you look at Germany, you look at France, you even look at the United States, you will see that kind of pattern emerging. Now, it's not surprising. Those years actually go from about the start of the pandemic through a major external shock with inflation due to the European war, and not surprisingly, that is a cost... coping with all that has had to be borne. And that's what you're seeing in those charts. My point was slightly different, which is that I've accepted that, but I am saying that the trajectory on taxes is now downward. And I've given you an example. You said there wasn't one. There's a very clear one. £900 for an average earner, a reduction in tax due to the national insurance reduction that we brought in.
If you want to see why he actually left the memorial service early, plus more people trying to defend him, well, then you need to check out the video that's on screen now. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button, and I'll see you next time.